And yeah, here we go. So this is another episode of the Uncivilized Art podcast. I am your host, Bernie Hazan, though I go by Bandit Haze in the online space, and I have my guest, Hinachum. I should have asked. Is that pronounced right? Hinachum? Sorry,
Yep, Hinachum is right.
Hinachum is right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, I was gonna do the intro and say, you're a Twitch streamer, you're a VTuber, content creator. How about I shut up for a second,
Oh
and
God.
for the people who might not know, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is you?
Again, my name is Hina. I'm a Twitch streamer, supposedly. I have started. I started streaming way back in like November of 2021, so I'm still new to it. I mainly stream on Twitch. I'm a Muslim VTuber, which it's a rare commodity. Um, and yeah, I play games. I do like hand reveals, IRL streams of like henna tattoos and stuff, but just generally I play games and yeah, I'm on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. You'll probably find me there. I stream most of the week, so you could probably find me. It is there anything else I should introduce myself as?
um,
I'm a
I,
Muslim streamer. I
yeah,
don't
yeah, Muslim VTuber, um,
Yes.
and yeah, you mentioned henna. Actually, I didn't know about the henna. So, is that something you
Yes.
do as is that professionally? Like, do you do like for people like in
N-
weddings and sort of
No.
events
What
and stuff like
usually
that?
happens is like during the events, like Ramadan is a big one, or Eid events.
Hmm.
Uh, I just pick at my sister. I'm like, because my sister's more professional than I am, and she would just do my henna tattoo on stream.
Okay, so she's doing your henna on stream. And okay,
Yes. Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So your hands have been on camera, but your face hasn't.
Yes. Hand
Okay,
reveal guaranteed.
okay. Do you ever? I mean, is there a plan to do a face reveal? Like, at some point, I know some people do like at 1 million subscribers or something like that. Is that something that you plan on doing ever, or for you is it just VTube only, apart from the hands?
Yes, there's definitely a new trend, especially on Twitter, where VTubers are now showing their IRL self as well. For me specifically, I don't intend to ever,
Mm,
just because of privacy, and like my parents are very big into like, don't unnecessarily put your face out there if you don't need to.
sure.
And especially, because I'm a Muslim too, like the whole process of wearing hijab and everything on stream, that comes with a lot of risk and everything. So I like to keep myself separate from that, and
Okay.
just yeah, I I think for me specifically, it's just it's better for me for privacy purposes. Like I don't want anyone attacking me or my IRL face or person. Um, and yeah, I think that's mostly what it is.
Sure. No, I think I understand. I think a lot of people understand that, especially when you start hearing about certain things that happen. In fact, it's one of the things we want to talk about VTube, and I guess that kind of covers that. So there's a lot of sort of safety and privacy in your decision
Yes.
to go the VTubing route, rather than say the traditional camera route. And I just realized I said route instead of route. It's I
Oh,
don't
I
know why I
say I
said it.
say both too. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I don't English is hard for me.
you know what it is because we're in well we in England we say route, right? Route is how we would say it. American accents would say route, and I guess I watch too much American shows or something, because I don't know
No, I
why
get it.
routes just came out like that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I just disgraced the whole of England right now by saying that
No,
way.
you're totally fine because like I've spoken about this. Like I was born in Canada and then I moved to America. So I still have a very heavily like British English influence.
Mm.
So like a lot of spelling, like color, favorite, all these words I'll just misspell, and then people laugh at me because because I'm like spelling them wrong, but I'm like they're right in my in my brain.
So you grew up in Canada, then moved to America, is that
Yes.
right? Okay. Do you go
Yes,
back
yes.
to Canada, or do you still have family or friends there? Do you go back there
Uh
at all?
yeah, Yeah, so I have a lot of family still living there. I'll visit Canada. Like I'm from like the Toronto, Ontario area, so I visit there
Okay,
like
T
three,
dot.
four times a year. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. I went to Toronto. Oh, it's got to be like 15, maybe 20 years ago now. I was only there for about 5 days, but it was a cool city. It was a cool city. Um, you had There was the what did I do? I mean, there was like Yonge Street, which is like the longest
Yes.
street in the world, longest high street in the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I was mostly around that kind of area. There was the women's bookstore, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like downtown I think on the east side. I can't remember exactly where, but I remember it was in similar area. And then I did take a little trip down to the Niagara Falls,
Oh,
Ontario,
yes.
Niagara Falls, and saw that, which was incredible.
It
Um,
is everyone's destination spot when they go to Canada.
uh,
But you should
it's
definitely go again because in like 20 years is a especially big difference for like Toronto and Ontario because so much has changed. Every
mm,
time I've gone there, like new structures are built, um, and everything that I've known since like I was a kid has like absolutely changed.
no, for sure. I mean, I think. Well, I mean, like any major city, there's always like movements and
Yeah.
changes, and nothing really keeps still. And yeah, like I mean, I was only there for like I said, I was only there for 5 days. So it wasn't a long trip, but and there's a few things that I didn't do that I kind of wish I did. Like I didn't go up in the
Mhm.
CN Tower. Like I
Oh,
just kind of
yes.
stood outside and looked up, and I was like, because at the time I was kind of thinking to myself, it's just going up in an elevator. Like that don't sound
I
too appealing.
understand.
But I don't know. I felt there's more to it than that. You just get to see like the whole of
Yeah.
Toronto from that high up, and
I mean, I feel like you should experience like at least any like tower ones. Like I've been to the CN Tower when I was a kid, so I don't really remember much. But like everything for me has diminished since I went to. As I've traveled to Dubai and I went to the Burj Khalifa, which is again the tallest tower in the world.
mm,
And so like after you do that, every other tower looks like
yeah,
nah. I don't want to
yeah,
do it.
it's
I
not
don't
that
want to
high
pay the
up,
ticket to go like half the
right?
height.
But it was the tallest tower in the world at one time. CN Tower, wasn't it? Like I think up until
Yeah.
because I'm pretty sure it was the tallest tower when I went. I'm pretty sure I remember somebody saying that when I went. So I guess sometime in the last 15, 20 years is when the Burj Khalifa took over. But yeah, it was the tallest tower in the world at one time.
I don't know when the Burj Khalifa was made, but I definitely the CN Tower is definitely one of the highest towers or
Mm.
tallest towers, highest what? Okay, tallest towers in the world.
So what's your favorite thing about Toronto?
Um, oh God, it's been so long. Food. There's so
Okay,
many good food places down
Tim
in
Hortons.
Toronto. Like the little hidden ones too. It's just like you walk downtown and then you'll find like little nooks and crannies of little food spots like taco spots or churro spots and they're like absolutely delicious. I like dream about it sometimes. I'm like I should
Mm,
go back. But the issue is Toronto is always so busy, so you're all it's that mindset of when you're there, you have to like take the day to be there because if you do like 1 or 2 hours, you have to risk of like the traffic, which is also
mm,
very brutal there. But
mm,
yeah, it's the food for sure for me.
yeah. They actually opened up a Tim Hortons in London. I think there's like two Tim Hortons in London. I've not actually been to
Really?
it yet, but I just seen it as I've been driving around. I didn't even know it happened. Like I just saw it one time, maybe a few weeks ago. I was driving around and I saw like a Tim Hortons, and I was like, right, they got Tim Hortons here now. So but
Yes,
yeah,
taking
that's
over.
yeah, that because it used to be. I'm pretty sure Tim Hortons was pretty much Canada only for like the longest time.
Yes. I
So
think it's now owned by like an American corporation
oh,
now.
okay, so they're branching out now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Hortons is alright though. Like they got what did I have when I was in? It was I remember I think it was a donut. Um,
Oh,
and I had something with the cheese in it because they had this big thing about the Canadian cheese. I
like
don't
those
remember what it was.
croissant things.
I guess it would have been a sandwich. I really don't remember, but I guess it was a sandwich maybe or. But I remember it was something that had the cheese in it. I just don't remember exactly what it
Yeah.
was. But
I mean, sometimes different countries have different items on the menu, so it might
uh,
be. Who knows if it's specific to London? But did you ever try the ice cap? Those are the thing that Tim Hortons are most known for.
Ice Calf? No, I don't think I've
Iced
tried
cappuccino. Yeah,
that.
you should definitely try it.
No, I actually wasn't drinking coffee back then. So yeah, I think if I
Oh.
do go to Tim Hortons, I'd have to try some of their coffee because apparently their coffee's pretty good as well. I'm hearing. Um, so
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
but man, Canada was cool though. Really, really enjoyed
Have you ever
the
had
time.
poutine?
I have well, not authentic poutine.
Okay.
So we have. I mean, the closest we have over here is what we call cheesy chips.
Oh,
Where you have the chips, you put the cheese in it, and you melt it. It's not quite the same. I know it's a similar kind of thing as
you're
a
missing the
poutine.
gravy. That's what you're
Right, you have the
missing.
gravy, and you think you use like cheese curd rather than
Yes, the
cheese.
cheese curds.
So yeah, not quite poutine, but similar, similar.
Hmm.
And I think I'm sure there's a place you can get it over here though. I'm sure there's a place.
I'm
But
sure like most countries probably have like an off-brand version of poutine
yeah,
somewhere.
like I don't know, probably one that has all the I don't know, like I feel like there's certain things like when they translate when they go to different countries, it just
Hmm.
doesn't taste the same. It doesn't taste quite right. You know what I mean? Like it's not bad or it's not rubbish. It's just there's something missing in the flavors, and I guess it's something to do with I don't know where the vegetables are grown or something
It
something
is
like that.
a lot for sure. Like even the smallest things. This is the most obscure example, but like there's this cereal called Corn Pops. I don't know if you know of them. They're like this yellow ball of cereal. And like they probably make them like it's a Kellogg's brand, so they make it like all over the
Mm.
companies, whatever. But they're in the Canada version and American version, they taste completely different. Or like
I'm
the
guessing there's more
ingredients.
sugar in the American
Yeah,
version.
exactly. There is a lot more sugar in the American one, but it's interesting. Like I like definitely like the Canadian version way better, but it's interesting how like just in general like different countries will interpret like the ingredients of like the same brand of like item, but they're so
Mm.
different.
Speaking of cereal, actually, so
Oh
I,
yeah, I
I did
forgot that.
I did see something interesting on I think it was on your
I did a
Twitter
segue.
about cereal first or milk first. Now, before I say what the correct answer is,
No.
so what are you? Are you cereal first or are you milk first?
So I do the correct way, and I actually did it this morning. Okay, so I did milk first and then cereal, but I
Oh,
have a method to the madness.
okay,
Okay,
okay, okay.
okay. So the only reason I say milk first and then cereal is because I hate soggy cereal. Okay,
Okay.
I feel like if you put the cereal first and then the milk, it makes the cereal way quicker to get soggy. And if you do milk first and then cereal, the cereal's piling on top of itself, so the top cereal is not soggy, and so
Okay.
the best ratio cereal.
Okay. I mean, I guess. I mean, wouldn't it still be soggy by the time you get to the bottom, though?
Well, yeah, but at least the first few bites are delicious.
Okay, but I feel like even if you put the milk first, as long as you're not waiting like 10 minutes or something, then
Well,
the top
no,
spirts are still quite
who's
crunchy.
waiting 10 minutes to eat cereal?
Right, you're gonna eat it right away. So, oh, isn't the top
Exactly.
bit still crunchy anyway?
Yeah, that's what I like about it. The top is crunchy.
Yeah. But I mean, if you put the cereal first, so you put the milk on, yeah. So you reckon it gets soggier quicker
Yeah.
if you put the milk on top of the cereal?
Yeah, because you're basically dousing the top part of the cereal with milk, and so and then the milk is sitting on the bottom, and and now the bottom part of the cereal is also soaked in milk.
Okay, I mean, I guess I could understand that. I mean, I still feel it's wrong.
Wait,
I
why
guess I can
though?
understand.
Why? Why
You know
do
what?
you guys like
I
cereal
would
first? I don't understand.
I would say there's maybe one scenario where it's okay to put the milk first, and that
Mhm.
is if um you don't have a lot of milk left, right? And you don't want to overdo it with the cereal and just have like a tiny drop of milk. You put it there. I feel like then you could kind of balance it out a bit better. Aside from that, if you got like a full bottle of milk and cereal, I don't know, man. Like cereal, milk, spoon. You
What
still
if you
get that
put too
crunch.
much milk? I like knowing how much milk I put into the bowl before my cereal, because then I could top more cereal.
I mean, yeah. I guess.
Am I changing your
Just.
ways of thinking?
I don't know. I guess. I guess. Well, I mean, I guess to be fair, at this point, I'm used to the exact portions of exactly when to stop pouring. It's becoming an art form. I don't even think about that no more. It's like just. But
No, no, the right way. Oh, every time I've asked this question, it's majority cereal first, and I just don't understand. I even asked my family, and they were like, "Yeah, no, you're weird."
yeah.
Why?
You know what? The funny thing is, well, I don't know if it's funny, but it's what it is. But these days, I actually don't really eat that much cereal. The only time I eat cereal is that we have this thing called shredded wheat, which is literally like these wheat biscuits.
Yes.
Oh, you got?
Yeah, I
Oh,
know
okay.
those.
That's all it is. Wheat. There's nothing added. No sugar. No salt. No
There's
whatever.
no. It's not
It's
the
just wheat.
frosted shredded wheats. It's just normal plain
Yeah,
shredded.
just wheat. It's two wheat biscuits. You put it in a
Wheat.
bowl, and then I usually use oat milk, but of course you can get any type of milk you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have that chopped with banana, and that's pretty much my breakfast these days.
That does
Like
sound
all the
good. It
cool
also sounds
cereals like
dry.
Frosties and Cocoa Pups and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had those. It's yeah. I think when you start getting older, you have to
Yeah.
start watching your sugar intake, and it's just like, well, so yeah, it's just me. It's just shredded wheat and banana. That's my cereal these days. It's boring,
No,
but
it don't. For me, it don't matter how old I get. I want my frosted flakes. Sometimes the people are like my family buys the non-frosted version, it's just the corn flakes, and I'm like, what is this?
okay.
This is
Oh no, those.
disgusting.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, I mean, those are. I wouldn't say. I don't know if I'd say they're disgusting, but they're definitely not nice.
Well, they rank
like they're
lower
definitely
on
like.
the tier
Mm,
list of cereal for me, next to Raisin Bran.
yeah, they're like. Actually, what I tell you, what a cereal I used to love, but the last time I had it, I thought was I just couldn't stand it. I think you guys call it. Yeah, I think you guys actually call it Frosted Flakes, but over here we call it Frosties, and this is one where you know Tony the Tiger.
Yes, Tony the Tiger. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, that was my favorite, right?
It's so
Like
good.
I used to love that. I used to put that in a bowl and then add sugar on top of it. Yeah,
Oh my god.
right. That's what I used to do when I was like 5 or something like
Wow.
that, 5, 6, 7, that kind of age. Just put the frosties in a bowl, milk, add more sugar, and I used to add like 2, 3 spoons of sugar.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but yeah, the last time I had it was probably like I don't know, maybe like 10, maybe 15 years. I was a long time ago now. The last time I had it, and I just remember thinking to myself, "Oh yeah, I had this for ages, right? Because it's been a while since I had it at this point."
Yeah.
So I got some, put it in a bowl, ate it, and I was like, "How did I like this? This is awful." But to be fair, you know what?
What?
I think they've
But
changed
they're
the
so
formulas
good.
and the ingredients since back in the day. Like every now and then they change up what they put in it. So that
Yeah,
could be
for sure
something to
they
do with
do.
why it tastes different. But yeah, the last time I had it, I was like, nah.
Really? I think, well, it definitely, a lot of those cereals when you're younger, they taste like way better. Like,
Hmm.
um, what was it? What was it? Like Fruit Loops. I don't know if you have Fruit Loops. It's the one
We
with the bird, the fruit, the toucan
I
Sam.
don't think we have it over here like normally, but yeah, you can
Hmm.
get it. Like certain shops will sell imported versions,
Ah,
and
yeah.
I did have some when I went to New York. So yeah, that is quite nice. I did like the Fruit
Those,
Loops.
and then like Cocoa Puffs, like all those, like they taste like really good when you're a kid, but when you get older, they're like, okay, maybe they're not as best as you remember it. But
Mm.
I mean, I still enjoy them, or I'll buy it and then I it's kind of like nostalgia for me.
Mm.
But everyone used to uh like rave about Fruity Pebbles, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, Fruity Pebbles is amazing." And especially like kids and everything, and I bought it one day and I was like, "This is trash. This is the worst cereal ever."
Do you still get the toys in the bottom of the packet?
No, they don't have them anymore. I remember like in Canada, they used to have like weird things. They'll have like a camera in there, or
Right.
they'll have like a little toy. I remember I had like the Tony the Tiger camera, in the box. It was like the best thing ever. Well, wait, I think they used to add them in the bag, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, from what I remember, it was always. Well, remember always, but mostly was at the bottom of the bag. And what we'll do is that we'll take the bag out the box,
Yeah.
turn it upside down, and open it from the bottom to get the toy out first.
Oh my god, that's so smart.
And then
I
you'll
did
put
not
it
do
back
that.
in the cardboard.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But
Oh,
yeah,
I
we
should
used to
have
do
done
that. Like,
that.
just like open it
I
up,
usually ate
get the
it
toy out.
normally.
I mean, still eat the cereal, of course, but yeah, get the toy out first and then open it up, take it
What
out.
kind of toys did you get?
I think there were things like I guess like regular toys, like little figures of like just sort of small
Uh-huh.
basic things. I don't know. I'm sure they're all long gone since then, but yeah, just kind of these basic cheap toys, the type of thing that you might get in like a Kinder Surprise egg. You know what I mean? That kind of
Yes,
thing.
Kinder Surprise.
But
Oh my god, I used to collect those.
Kinder Surprise were pretty cool, actually. I think they're
Yeah,
still,
but
yeah, they're still around. Kinder.
Kinder Surprise
Yeah,
is
they're still
here
around.
still, but they've downgraded so much. Like the toys are trash.
I mean, I don't remember the toys being particularly good to begin with, so you might have just had better toys over on your side.
Well, we had ones where you could assemble and like put in
Right.
water and add little plushy ones. It was cute. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, they were like these little things. Like, yeah, you put them together, and they weren't really much. And you might get like, I don't know, like a little figure, like a person, or maybe
Yeah.
might be a car or a motorbike or something like that. And it's
I think
just
what
a
I loved
real-
about it
real
is like you
basic
could
toy.
assemble them. They're like
Just put it
little
together
things.
and
And the chocolate was good.
Actually, that chocolate was quite nice, as I remember. It's real soft, you know. Well, it has a nice combination of being soft and being hard. Like the shell wasn't, it had like when you bite into it, it had like a kind of crack. But then when it's in
Yeah.
your mouth, it feels soft.
It was super soft.
Yeah. But yeah, they
I
were
should
nice
buy one.
chocolates. Actually, I mean, I guess we got a little bit off, but it's all good. But
I'm
speaking
sorry.
of chocolates,
It's all my fault.
It's so good. It's so good. We can still talk about some
I
of this
always
stuff.
go
But
off topic all the time.
all right, before we come back to some of these subjects, then real quick, what is your favorite chocolate?
Ooh. Okay. So probably one of my favorites. I don't know if you have them, but they're called caramel. So they're milk chocolate, but they're filled with caramel. But the
Okay.
caramel is very soft. It's like a very smooth. Like once you bite into the chocolate, like it has like strands of caramel coming out.
Okay. I don't think they
Yeah,
have
that's
that specifically. I think they have things like that, like chocolate and caramel.
mhm.
But yeah, I don't think we have that specifically. I think the closest that I could think of is that we have this thing called it's a thing called Galaxy, which is like chocolate with
I've
caramel
had
inside.
one. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've had my sibling went to London once and he brought back a lot of flakies and those are
Oh yeah,
really
flake, yeah.
good.
Flakes are good, especially with
Uh,
ice cream. Put that flake in the ice
oh,
cream, put some syrup on it. Oof. That's a day out.
I think Galaxy might be similar for sure. Yeah, it looks like it's similar. Well, sorry, I'm just like looking what it is. Oh no, it doesn't have a biscuit inside. It's just like straight up
Okay.
caramel inside.
Okay, so it's a chocolate. No, okay, cool. I would
What about
say
yours?
my favorite chocolate. I mean, there's a few that I definitely like, but if I had to pick one,
Hmm.
I would go with the strawberries and cream Lindt chocolate balls. Like those are so
Ooh,
good. Those are so
Lint is
good.
good.
They do these like, I mean, Lindt are just good chocolates just
Yeah.
anyway, right? They're the like master chocolatier company. I think it's
Hmm.
Swedish or Swiss. Uh, so I probably messed up the country. My bad. But they're really good. Like Lindt, and yeah, they do like these little balls and like they got you get a whole packet of them. You're supposed to share. They do not get shared. they
Oh
do.
no!
They do not
Once
get
it
shared.
comes into our house, it's gone.
It's like
Is the
oh,
strawberry cream one also like super melty on the inside, or Because I know the
Yeah.
regular Lindt chocolate, like the milk one, is very soft in the center.
Yeah, so once you like, I mean, once you get it out the box, it's still
Hmm.
quite hard. You put it in your mouth, and then it's softens down a bit,
Hmm.
and then you can bite into it, and then the chocolate, so the strawberry and cream kind of comes out. So it's kind of like a
Ooh.
creamy strawberry type thing, and yeah, just a combination of that. And I mean, strawberries I like anyway. Strawberries and cream I like anyway. Chocolate I like anyway. You put them all together, and you got it's just so good. It's
I
so
have to
good.
order it.
So
I don't
yeah,
know if they
that's
have it
something to look
here.
up. I
I'll
mean, you gotta
find
have.
it.
You must have Lindt over there because I think they're
Oh, we definitely have Lindt
worldwide.
for
But
sure. It's just
yeah,
I don't know if we have that specific flavor.
it'd be a shame if you don't. It'd be a damn shame.
I'll be like, where's this? Where is this amazingness in my life?
For real. All
Ooh.
right. So Miss Hinachum. Yeah. So you
Yes,
stream on Twitch. How long have you been streaming on
yes, I
Twitch
do.
for? How long's that been
How
now?
how long?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I just crossed 8 months, maybe.
Oh, so still within the
I know
first
I
year.
started end of November.
Okay, still really new then.
Yes, I am still pretty new.
Yeah, so
Well, I've learned a lot for sure, but
how's the journey so far then from when you started to now? And is there anything you do differently now that you did back then?
a lot. Well, the setup definitely changed a lot. When I first started, I guess it was kind of just finding the motivation to just do it, right?
Mm,
It was like it's something I've always wanted to do, but I just didn't have like the idea of just, you know, just doing it, right? Because that is, I think, the biggest like hump to get over, right? You gotta press record and then just start streaming.
right.
But in the beginning, I like my setup was so scuffed. I used like my microphone mic, which was trash. Uh I had like I had a bad computer, so it was super laggy, and my model was completely different. It was still like hijabi and everything, but it was definitely a scuffed up streaming setup. But from there, I kind of just took the time and you know um invested the trying to get a new mic, a new webcam, new laptop, and new model just to like start taking it a little more seriously. And so from there, I would change like little things, like I would add um some things that like chat can do, while it interaction type stuff,
Mm,
or just how I could change my model to give a little bit of pizzazz and emotional like connection and everything like that. So I would like my streaming has just changed completely. Thought I would do certain games, but then those certain games like changed into like me doing other types of games. And
mm,
I like it's interesting because you go in thinking you're gonna be doing certain things, and then it just completely is changes like completely. Because once you're in there, once you're into streaming, you're looking at what other people doing, you're looking at what you're doing, um and trying to always enhance yourself.
mm.
Yeah, so it's definitely been a long journey for me, even though it's only been 8 months. Like I think about it all the time. I'm like, wow, it's only been 8 months, but like I feel like I've done a lot in those 8 months.
Yeah. So I feel like whenever you do things in a creative or expressive field, part of what happens, somewhat as a side, is that you learn about yourself. So
Yes.
as you're going along, you're learning about what you like, what you don't like, how you want to be, how you don't want to be, like you said, about sort of from the things that you thought you were going to do to the things that you actually ended up doing. And I feel like part of that journey is self-learning, and that is informs those changes as you go along. It's just to be in who you are now, and it's a continual thing. So like from where you were 8 months ago to where you were now, and then God willing, 8 months from now, there's
Hmm.
going to be all these changes along the way as you learn more about yourself, you learn more about streaming and Twitch, and content creating and games and everything else that goes along with it, and how that all
Hmm.
then manifests itself in the future. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of self learning along that way, you know.
It is definitely a lot of self-learning, and then you figure out your commitment to it, right? Because in the
Mm,
beginning, sometimes you're like, oh, it would be nice. It's just something I wanted to do, and now when you're in it, you're like, oh, this is something I want to do. This is something I want to invest my time into.
mm,
And so, yeah, it's just been an amazing journey so far. And I think what I love about it is that you you're finding also like-minded people. So you're
yeah.
finding people that are, well, one, you're finding new streamer friends or Twitch friends, but then you're also finding an audience that you relate to a lot, and you just don't
Mm,
know it. Sometimes they'll tell you their life stories or struggles that they're dealing with at the moment, and you're like, I've experienced that. I know what that is.
mm,
And so sometimes you do relate some of um your memories or your history on that issue or subject, and it sometimes really helps other
yeah, for
people's
sure.
perspective on like different things. Like I have I'm sure a lot of people get like a lot of stories on like depression or stuff that is happening at school, bullying, and like all that. And you're like, I, even though I can't physically help you, I can at least give you some sort of like out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
entertainment to get your headspace out of that
yeah,
kind of situation.
yeah. Certainly, I feel like streaming or just say content creating and any kind of like, sort of creativity, I feel like it helps in more ways than say
Yeah.
the creator of that art even might even realize. Sometimes when people might come to you and just say something like, watching your streams has helped me stay away from alcohol. As they're coming
Yeah.
over an alcohol addiction, or something like that.
Hmm.
And in the beginning when you start doing these things, it's not like you sitting there going, you know what, I'm gonna help people overcome alcohol addiction. You're not really
Hmm.
thinking that. You're just thinking about
Hmm.
doing something that you enjoy and doing it in the best way you can. And then somebody's coming to you talking about how just by watching you or seeing what you do, and it's helped them deal with something in their life. And so yeah, I feel like there's definitely a lot of connection between what you put out into the world and how that can help people in ways that you might not even think about or even imagine that it could. But people connect with things in so many different ways based on their own personal experiences and what
Yes.
they see from you and how that relates to them, which might have nothing to do with what you're trying to do, but somehow it translated to them that it meant that they could help with this issue or that issue. And yeah, it's pretty amazing when these things happen, and it certainly, as I think as a content creator, it's one of the things that, although it's not why you did it in the first place, it's certainly
Hmm.
something that you think about later, and one of the reasons why you continue and maybe have these things a bit more in mind.
No, for sure. Like in the beginning, I got a lot of comments about me being like super super wholesome or comfortable streamer, right?
Mm,
And in the beginning, I'm like, do I want to be that? Like, is that really helpful to me, or will that help me grow? Because sometimes you just have that mindset. It's like,
sure.
oh, wholesome, comfortable streamer doesn't mean you'll grow specifically. That was just in my brain. But then I like recently, I just thought about, it's this is something that anyone can watch. Like they
Yeah.
can watch my stream knowing that there won't be any swearing, there won't be any talk about like alcohol, drugs, or anything, and that parents can be comfortable with kids watching me. Um and then I take that into consideration. I'm like, you know what, I like being that. I like being that comfortable streamer. I like being
Mm,
the wholesome streamer, because I'm giving them something something in the entertainment space that is kind of different than any other.
Mm.
Any other content, because nowadays you see all this, YouTube, Twitch, there's a lot of, a lot of entertainment that is questionable. So I kind of like giving them an avenue to just watch something that they could just put on. They could even have their like headphones off and just be fine with it.
Do you find that, or you mentioned about, do you want to, when we was told that you're a comfortable streamer, do you find that it's not so much the fact that you're a comfortable streamer, and more so that it's just being described as a comfortable streamer? You know what I mean?
Um, what do you mean by that?
Like, like you going about your day, you're doing all the things you do, and then somebody refers to you as reliable, and then it kind
Hmm.
of triggers something inside you where you're like, am I reliable? That means I'm dependable. I'm always doing this. Am I safe? Am I not spontaneous? You know what I mean? That those sorts of things
Yeah,
start
for
coming
sure.
in. Do you think that that's more sort of thing when you were questioning as to do you want to be a comfortable streamer rather than being a comfortable streamer itself? You know.
Yeah, I definitely, I think you hit it on it, where it's like, comfort streamer. Am I getting too comfortable in my day-to-day streams? Am I like not pushing enough, or am I not,
Mm,
doing, um am I not, have I become routine? I think is probably the right word.
yeah.
Like, I
Okay.
don't want
Yeah.
to be like, I'm kind of routine in in just day-to-day life. So um is that translating into streaming as well? And I do want to push the envelope. I want to try different things, but sometimes I feel like maybe I am just um
Mm,
just whiting the coast kind of thing.
mm. No, I mean it's there's definitely a balance to be struck, isn't it? When you're trying anything, and of course, I think just as any creative, you always want to push things as far as you can go.
Yes.
But then at the same time, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. And then there's a balance of that, and as you said about what type of image are you trying to create, and how does that fit into what are you pushing, and so. Yeah, I feel like sometimes we could drive ourselves crazy when
Yeah.
where we kind of take it all in and try to think about it. But I think, I mean, from my limited experience, I'll say that it's just trying to find where you're happy, and where you're okay doing these things, and and
Mhm.
then going from there.
I mean, this it's definitely about like what will make you happy, because
Mm,
I think that's where people get like worn out with streaming. I feel like is when you start, I guess, doing it for others and not for yourself.
mm,
Because then you become like, again, routine. You probably just don't want to stream that day. It's like, oh, it's just another day, another stream, and so it's at that point you're not doing it for yourself.
mm. I guess maybe something related to the whole comfortable thing as well is that, I mean, would you say that's something that is based on your faith, as to why you choose not to use swear words and things like that, and to be, say, more family kid friendly,
Hmm.
or is that, or how does the faith, your faith, come into it when it comes to how you decide what your streams are going to be and what games you're going to play and that sort of thing?
For sure. So I guess I was like, how to tackle this question. Um, yeah, for sure. When I decided to do streaming, like I definitely came in wanting to be authentic as possible. So like in my daily life, I don't really swear a lot, but sometimes when I'm playing games, I'll just let stuff like slip. Especially
Yeah.
like if you're going against a boss or someone's
Yeah.
kicking you off the screen in Smash Bros. I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
I think I can
get
relate to
out.
that.
Like I get angry. Like I get super stressful when I'm losing. Like I'm a bad loser. So um I like some things slip, and
Sure. Yeah.
I'm fine, usually fine with it. But then I don't want my audience, when when I do let something slip, my chat definitely, they're like, "Hey, you said this. How dare you?" And I'm like, well, things slip, especially like you're older, you're understanding. It's sometimes you just let things slip. Sometimes I'll just let things slip, like in daily life. If again stressed,
Mm,
I'll let it slip. But I definitely try not to while I'm streaming. Uh, when it comes to faith, I think is well, also my model is a representation of me, right? So when you look at me, you look at someone who is at this certain level, right? There, you expect them not to, um, well, the concept of being Muslim, you're doing everything that's like halal. You're not drinking, you're not swearing,
mm,
you're not doing drugs and all this. You're not you're putting your best face for your faith as well.
right.
So I in um it definitely plays a huge part because people when they come to me, they also ask questions about my faith, right? Like, they ask questions about why I'm wearing a scarf, or where, or what, like they'll talk about Ramadan and stuff. And so I feel like when I'm streaming, I'm also all the time that I'm also like putting myself out there as a representation of being Muslim.
Mm,
And especially if you have that tag, or you're visibly that, you're always um, trying to be the best you can, so that people don't have a chance to say something
yeah.
rude or mean about you or your faith or the way you look like, um or just, yeah, just that in general, encompassing all of that. But it definitely plays a part on how I act sometimes on stream. I'll do things that are more family friendly. I'll play games that um kids are fine with watching. Or I definitely kind of wouldn't play GTA on stream, because that's not something I would do.
Yeah. Would you play it off stream
It definitely,
or
sometimes when I was a kid, I would play it, but not as much anymore. But some games I just won't play. Um, it's definitely interesting. But you definitely hit it on the head, where faith definitely plays a big part of me as a streamer.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think like when it comes to anybody who is religious, I mean, I think ultimately, I mean, this may be a very kind of basic way of describing it, but when you're doing anything, part of how you think about it is this allowed in my religion? If so,
Hmm.
cool. If not, no. you know. And
Yeah.
of course, there's going to be, I mean, I know it's not going to be that straightforward. Of course, like you say, sometimes things slip out, we make mistakes, we get things wrong, and this, that, and the other. But generally speaking, it's like, okay, am I allowed to do this? Yes or no, and then kind of moving from there.
Hmm.
And I think what you said was quite interesting actually about represent being a representation of a Muslim and trying to make sure you always put your best foot forward, because I guess I guess this happens all over the world, but maybe there's a highlight, is that the right word, but maybe a focus in America of how people behave, and the moment you
Hmm.
do something bad or
Hmm.
whatever, and or stuff like that, and it's like, oh, all you Muslims are like this, and that sort of thing. And so is that something that comes to mind in terms of like trying to avoid that, or is it just more for yourself, or just being, because I feel like
Yeah.
if that's kind of a lot to take on, when it
I
comes
think,
to
yeah,
that sort of thing.
for sure, what you're saying is all again all true. I think it's what I do all the time in my daily life, that it kind of ingrained into streaming as well.
I say okay. Okay.
Because when I'm out there IRL, I'm again, I'm wearing a hijab, so it's also a big marker that I'm Muslim, right? So it's always about like always showing that you're kind, you're smiling,
Yeah.
never looking like you're doing anything wrong. It just encompasses it in your daily life of just like walking down the street, going to the store, anything. It's just ingrained into you.
Mm.
But I guess when it comes to streaming, I kind of took that as well because I knew that I knew I was getting into that when I used this model, this hijabi model, this anime representation of a Muslim. But I also I wanted to do that because you don't really see it on streaming. I know there are multiple Muslim like VTuber streamers, but they're not constantly streaming. You don't see them week to week. You'll see like tweets and stuff, but you don't see like a face out there just um that that you can just go watch and see like a Muslim in, I guess, her element or her streaming. So I wanted to be like, first I wanted to kind of be the first one narcissistic being a narcissist.
I mean, well, we're all kind of a little bit narcissist when it comes down
exactly.
to it. So,
So like,
yeah.
but like I knew that coming into this because when you don this persona, it's just naturally gonna happen. Like I know Muslims that are not like outwardly Muslim. They don't wear hijab with their VTuber, but they are Muslim. And I've gotten messages saying that they commend me for it because they're showing it, because I'm showing it. But it's like I feel like it needs to start somewhere.
Yeah. No, indeed. I mean,
and I like it. Someone, when people are asking me questions about Islam, I'm like, I love that. I'm not forcing it on anyone. It's just if they want to ask me questions or anything, then they're allowed to.
No, for sure. I mean, I think that's kind of how I kind of see it as well. Like, I mean, I guess in fairness, I'm not outwardly Muslim. Like, it's maybe not as obvious, but it's no secret either. People know, and although it's not necessarily what my sort of content channels are directly about, people know about it. And when I do streams, sometimes we talk about it, and that sort of thing, and you try to answer questions as best as you can, but
yes,
at the same time you kind of accept that you're not always going to have all the answers as well, and that sort of thing. And try not to create any kind of image of yourself that's beyond what you actually are as well, because that could be an issue, right? But
yeah, like I know I'm not an imam or like a Mulana or anything. So like when people are asking me questions, I try, I'll look stuff up there, like just to make sure I have at least some more accurate descriptions.
Actually, with the Vtubing software, yours is the hijabi anime girl, as described. And I think I saw that somebody designed this for you. Is that right? Or
yes, okay. That's correct.
So with Vtubing software, and this is coming from someone who I've never used the software, so I really don't know. But is it that if I was to like join up or whatever, I could create my own? Like I couldn't just use your image. I'd have to, or is it? You know what I mean? Like I have to create my own image. Or is that
okay.
right?
So yeah, let me go into this. So
does that make sense?
I'll educate you, okay? If you ever want to go into it, I got you.
Cool.
So there's different types of models. There's PNG, which is just like a photo, and then you could stream that way. You can do a 3D model, or you could do a 2D model. I'm the 2D model. Okay. I used to do a 3D model, and that's something I made myself. So they have this system called Vroid Studio where you can build your 3D avatar from scratch and add whatever design you want with it. For 2D models, which is the most common one, is I had to get an artist make my design, make my image, and from there, So once you have the VTuber model, then it goes into a rigging process. So rigging means it allows you to move, like, you know, going side to side, where your eyes are tracking, like all that animation stuff is that rigging process. So
Okay.
once you have that completed, then you go into this application called VTube Studio, where you pull this model in, and then just then you like connect your camera and stuff, and that's how you start doing the movements and everything. It's tracking your webcam with your model. So for me, for me, because I can't do art for the life of me, I commissioned someone to make my model for me, and that is how this model came to be.
Okay. So that person that who did it for you, or
Mm-hmm.
say any other person who could design, they
Yes.
couldn't just go in and draw you and use it as themselves, or could they?
I mean, if they wanted to, I guess they could, but it's I guess you have when you're paying for the rights for the model too.
Okay, I see. Okay, so if they did, you'd have. Okay, gotcha. Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. So
So
you have
it's
protection
like you
over.
have to say you're using this for commercial rights. You're going to be using this model commercially. You're using it on Twitch, so you're going to gain something from it, right? So
Right.
um, that's how it works. Yeah. I mean,
Okay. Cool.
technically, you could probably use it, and I guess I wouldn't mind. But again, it's commercial rights.
Okay. Cool. That's quite interesting actually. So there's quite a few VTubers now, and quite a few, of course, and I think Corpse Husband is maybe the most popular one.
Yes.
But yeah, there's quite a few I think that have sort of come up over the last maybe few years. So it's definitely become
Yes.
a
It's
really
become
popular
super
avenue.
popular.
And yeah, like we were saying earlier, I think there's definitely good reasons behind why someone might choose it. Versus do we say that there's the regular camera stuff.
Hmm.
So for yourself then, as a Twitch streamer, gamer, when did you, or how did you, sorry, decide to go from, say, being, someone playing games, you enjoying games, you love games? How did you kind of go from that to then saying, I want to start Twitch? Like, what was that kind of transition like for you?
For me, I've always wanted to do something in like digital space ever since I was a kid. Like I was that weird kid. I would make anime music videos and like post them on YouTube and stuff. So I would do content
I remember
creation
those,
since like,
yeah. The
yeah, I
AMVs.
would do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. I've made those, a lot of those.
Wow. I
It's
might
so
have even seen
cringy
some
to
of
look
yours
at
then.
now.
You used to watch loads of those back in the day.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh, memories with the cringy songs and
Yeah.
oh god.
Like Linkin Park.
So how'd you know? I love Linkin
So
Park.
many people went Linkin Park. And in
I'm
the
such
end,
a
and be like the G's
Linkin
are going,
Park fan.
ah.
Like that's my favorite band of all time. But that's actually, since you said that, that's exactly how I got into A&B. Is like I watched a video of Pushing Me Away with Final Fantasy VIII like video,
Hmm.
and it was like the most cool thing I've ever watched in my life. So, and that's how it kind of got into content creation from there. So I started making music videos myself, and then I would watch YouTube all the time. I'd watch those OGs on YouTube that made content and everything. So it was something I've always wanted to do, but I just didn't think I could do it because for me, in my brain, it's like if you don't show your face, you cannot do it or you won't be successful in it. It was just something mentally for me. Like I couldn't get over the hump of like, oh, if you don't show your face, you can't. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's just something I thought of as a kid. But when I grew older, it then life gets thrown at you. You have to do education, your schooling, and jobs and everything. And I was like, now I just don't have time to do anything like that, but it was always in my mind. It's like, I want to try it. I've always wanted to try it. I just don't know how to do it. And then a year ago, I kind of started watching VTubers more. I'd watch YouTube videos and I see these, VTubers popping up, and I'm like, what is this? And then that's when I started watching Twitch more as well. And I was done with my education. I graduated university. I had a stable job. I was like, maybe this is the time to do it if I wanted to do it. And then I was like, okay, maybe I can do a VTuber model. That'd be the best avenue for me. I don't have to show my face, but I could have a model that shows my emotions. It shows like it gives viewers something to look at as well. So it kind of went from there, and then just taking that jump of faith of just doing it, just turning on the live button. But for me, it's always something I've always wanted to do. Just never had. I feel like I never had the time to, or I never thought I could, because I had to show my face.
Okay, I think I understand. It's just the journey of kind of believing a particular thing, and that I guess somewhat hindering you to a degree of not venturing into it, but then finding ways to get around that, especially with, I guess, with the VTubing and yeah, okay, that's pretty interesting actually. But from anime music videos to well, still anime, I guess. In a,
I mean, yeah, still anime, still going strong with that.
So I guess you're an otaku then.
Oh, sure. I guess I'm not super obsessed with anime, but I watch a lot of anime, but I wouldn't say. Well, okay, maybe I am.
What's your top anime right now?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, like all time, or just like this season of anime?
Let's go with the current animes right now. What's your favorite anime that's current?
So I just finished an anime that I thought was amazing. It was a small little anime that popped up out of nowhere. It was I'm Quitting Heroing, and it was just so cool to me because it definitely took a different turn than I expected with most animes take. It was an anime about how this hero, he was known as a hero by everyone, but started being turned on by their people, and so he decided to become a villain.
Okay, good guy goes bad.
It was interesting. Yeah.
Nice.
I liked it. I don't know. It was just something new because I'm so used to. There's so many anime like reincarnation. There's reincarnation of slime, reincarnation with the special powers. I don't know. There was too much reincarnation. I was like, this is something different that I didn't expect.
All right. So, what's your favorite anime of ever?
This one's hard. I mean, how could you not like Death Note? Is
okay.
just
Yeah.
peak anime.
Death Note. Yeah.
Death Note was what else? I love Dragon Ball Z. It's just iconic. It's like it's there for me. What else? I'm just like thinking animes that like revolutionized everything for me. Code Geass was amazing. It's like a lot of Full Metal Alchemist, all the good, iconic ones, honestly. But the thing is, I got really into sports anime eventually, and then I started watching a lot of like Prince of Tennis, Kuroko no Basket, and like it's just I love sports anime.
Yeah, there was one that my little brother used to watch called, I think it's called Hajime no Ippo, about a boxer.
Yes.
Yeah, I never watched it myself, but I remember used to see him see it on screen when he was watching it, and well, I guess it was about a boxer. That's quite all I know.
Yeah. Highly recommend it. You should watch it. Do you watch
highly
anime?
recommend it. I do. Maybe not as much as yourself, but I do on occasion watch a few animes. I used to watch loads back in the day, sort of 90s, mid 90s. It was a period of time where I just watched loads of animes. The last anime I watched was one called what was it called? It was on Amazon Prime, and it was recommended to me. What's it called? It was about this kid. I guess this guy who they're all about kids, I guess, really. Um, but it was a guy who his dad made a deal with these demons so that his village can prosper, and in exchange for his village prospering, the demons took his firstborn son's body parts. So they took like his skin, his
Oh,
arms, his legs, his voice. They took all these things from it. And just left like this skinless baby that was barely
oh my
alive.
god.
And then the father sends off the baby to just get buried and sound the river to get killed. But the person who's supposed to kill the baby doesn't, and just puts him in a boat and sends him in the river. And then it gets picked up by this guy who ends up raising the baby. And then 16 years later, this kid who's a teenager, I guess now, he's like on his quest to go around killing all these demons so that he can get his body parts back. And as he kills them, he gets his arms back or his skin back, and that sort of thing, his voice eventually. And it was quite interesting. It's not very long. So that's part of the reason why I watched it, because a lot of animes go for like just ever. But this one's
Yes.
only like 24 episodes.
Mhm.
And yeah, it wasn't too bad. It definitely has some odd moments in there, but I mean,
It sounds
anime,
interesting.
right?
It sounds like a great synopsis.
But yeah, overall it's pretty good, and I won't give away too many spoilers. But yeah, I was quite satisfied with the way it ended, and I thought it was pretty cool for the most part in terms of storytelling and that kind of thing. But if I had to pick an overall anime, I'd have to go with Akira. Death Note was amazing, of course, but Akira from 1980 something, 88,
Uh-huh.
89, late 80s. That for me, I mean, it was probably the first anime I ever watched. And I think a lot of people my age, it was the first
Mhm.
anime they watched as well. And so when it came, or when I saw it, it was like something so different to anything never seen before. And plus, the story, everything about it is just incredible. And I've probably seen it, I don't know, at least 10, 15, 20 times over the years. I don't even know how many times at this point. Maybe even more than that. But so I've seen it a bunch of times over the years. I haven't watched it again. I haven't watched it for a while now, so I definitely should watch it again. But yeah, if you've not seen Akira, definitely look up Akira. It's based on a
No,
manga
I've never
turned
watched it.
into an
Did it come
anime.
on like regular TV?
Um, I mean, it's a movie rather than
Oh,
a series.
oh, it's a film. Okay.
But yeah, I think when I watched it, it would have came on TV. Um, I think I probably watched it maybe in the early 90s for the first time.
Mhm.
And it's probably on Channel 4 that we have over here, I'd imagine. But they show stuff like that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it would have been, I guess, a cinema release at some point, and you could get it on Blu-ray, DVD, and all that sort of stuff as well. But yeah, it's definitely worth looking up. That would be my recommendation for, even if you're not an anime fan. I just think it's a great movie. So Akira, and it's set in the future and makes an
Ooh.
interesting prediction about the uh, Olympic Games of being set in a particular part of the world. So
Mm. Okay, I might
but
take
yeah,
a watch to this, especially if it's a movie. That's a easy commitment, and not
yeah,
like a 20
it's
episode anime.
oh for sure. I mean, it's only like I think it's less than 2 hours. It's not a
Oh,
long
okay.
movie, but it's a good length. In fact, I heard at one time they were going to make it into a live action movie, but I don't think they ever did in the end. I can't remember
Oh,
who was
live
supposed to
action of
direct it, but
anime.
yeah, they don't have a good track record, so
Boy,
it was
do
probably for
you
the
see the
best.
live action of Death Note? My God.
Yeah,
Oh, the cringe.
that was a Netflix movie as well, and
Yes.
Netflix are
I
usually pretty
watched like
decent with
10
their
minutes. I
films,
was like,
but
nah,
that.
I'm good.
Mm. And the thing is, for me, I don't mind the fact that it's not the same as anime, because of course, it's going to be different. It's a movie; they're
Yeah.
going to do things differently. That's fine. It was just more the fact that they didn't seem to know what they wanted to do with it. Like, it just seemed to like kind of jump
Yes.
from bits for one bit to another with next to no explanation, and just be like, okay, we're here now, right? I suppose so.
Yeah, I think they're just expecting people to have already watched Death
Uh,
Note to be watching it.
It's like, well, why am I watching
I
this
don't,
then? You know,
I don't know.
if I have to
I
watch
don't
this
know. It was
anyway,
just
like,
so
what am I
cringe
watching this
to
for?
me
Oh, jeez.
because they're
But
using like anime dialogue in a.
speaking of live action anime, there is another Netflix production as well. Oh, what's it called? Avatar. Legend. No,
The Last Airbender,
Last
right?
Airbender. Avatar. Yeah, that's being made into a
Yeah.
live action series. So
I think that has more promise.
it could. I mean, it's a series, so I guess they have more time to actually flesh it out rather than just
Hmm.
dump everything in a few hours. So hopefully, we'll see. You know, I mean,
Did,
again,
did you
I
see the
doubt it'd be the
movie
same, but
version?
did I see what? Sorry.
The movie version
Oh
that
yes,
they.
yes, I did. I did. Um, you know what? Here's the thing about that. Actually, I feel like, I mean, yeah, that film's terrible. Let's be clear on that fact. That film's
It's
terrible.
a joke.
But you know what? I feel like it 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 wasn't. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people made it out to be,
It
because
was worse.
it it does a few things pretty okay. Like in terms of telling the story, I feel like they did pretty okay as far as telling the story goes, right?
Hmm.
But I feel like where they really screwed up is they had, like, a lot of the actors were very inexperienced, which is
Yeah.
not a problem in and of itself. But they were trying to get them to do these really dramatic scenes, which they just could not pull off, and it looked
No.
so awkward. You
I think
know,
it was also the choices of actors. Also, I was like, really? I think a lot of people question that.
yeah, they had a lot of, let's say, shall we say,
Interesting
a different
taste.
tone
Oh yeah, for
than
sure.
I mean, I guess I get it. You know, visually, it kind of makes sense, I suppose. But it was, well, it did stand out. Yeah,
I remember watching it with my family, and we were just like, "Yeah, I don't know why we picked this to watch."
yeah. It's I mean, I guess it's worth watching just to see how terrible it is. But
It is.
aside
I
from
mean,
that,
isn't
it's
that what
maybe
everyone watches
yeah.
live actions for?
I think you could give that one a miss if you haven't. If you, it's not definitely not a must see. Although I've actually watched it probably about at least 5 or 6 times. So
Really?
yeah, there's
Oh,
a
one
good
and
reason for
done.
that, by the way. But
Oh, oh. You had to
as
show
a
like five different people how bad it was.
kinda, yeah, actually. I've one of my YouTube channels
Mhm.
where I make fun of movies and
Mhm.
talk about some of the things they get wrong and make jokes and that sort of stuff. And that was one of the movies that I
Oh,
poked fun at. And yeah, there's a lot of things to poke fun at in that movie. So
oh, I understand now.
yeah, it was yeah, it's. I mean, there's worse films out there, but that is pretty bad. That is pretty bad.
I think when it comes to live actions, I think that's one that everyone thinks of.
Oh yeah, definitely. Apparently, the director M Night Shyamalan,
Uh-huh.
I think I said that wrong. Sorry, but the director, he didn't know much about Avatar and stuff like that, but he wanted to make the movie because his kids were into it. Um, and that's pretty much
Oh,
why that movie exists, because he wanted to do something with his kids, which is also a
yeah,
nice reason. It's just
yeah.
unfortunately didn't turn out so well. So because his kids went to see Avatar movie, we got
Uh-huh.
that.
I wonder what the kids thought of it though. You're
That
like,
would be
why?
interesting
Why,
to know,
father?
right?
Why?
Dad, we need to talk.
You didn't take our direction notes carefully.
Right. This is not what we meant.
Yeah, it's like when we said we wanted to see Last Airbender in a movie, this is not what we expected.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. What would you say is, or is there a good live action movie based on an anime
Um,
that you know
based
of?
on an anime. I mean, sometimes I've watched like the Japanese, I guess, television series of Death Note, and I thought that was
Oh,
okay.
right.
But if we're talking about just American renditions, I'm like trying to think. I know they just released like what was it, Cowboy Bebop. I haven't
Oh,
watched
right. Yeah,
that,
yeah. I didn't see that, but yeah, I know another one.
but I'm thinking. Oh God, I just remembered they made a Dragon Ball Z live action.
Yeah, they did.
Oh my God,
They
I'm so
did.
bad.
Oh, yeah. And they got Chow Yun Fat in it as well, mate.
Oh, so bad. Oh, because wasn't like it wasn't Goku like some Caucasian kid. I was
Yeah, it was like, oh, but that might be another film I have to talk about on my channel as well, come to think of it. But, mate, I remember I
what gets
watched that.
worse? That movie.
Oh, I seen it ages ago. I don't remember a lot from it, but I remember, yeah, it's all kind of Americanized, and
Oh, it was super Americanized. It was
I think they were
hilariously
in high
bad.
school, and yeah, Bulma, is it, yeah, Bulma was the girl that he fancies or something, and
Oh
I don't remember
God.
this. I don't remember exactly what happened, but yeah,
Didn't they have
I
like a
remember it being.
Piccolo in there, but he wasn't green? I don't.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I like Chow Yun Fat. Chow Yun Fat is, he's been in some of my favorite action movies of all
Mm-hmm.
time. So I don't know why he agrees to do that movie, but they managed to get him in it, and I guess there's a name attached, a good name attached to the film. But mate,
He
that
probably
film
just
was
liked Dragon Ball and was like, yeah, I want to be there.
contractually obligated.
Other
Oh,
than that, I'm like, I don't think I've. Is there any good ones?
hmm.
I don't remember. I would have to look at a list of live actions because, like, I don't remember all the live actions. Oh, they had a live action Full Metal Alchemist, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure
I
out of the
think that
ones
was
that I've
okay.
seen, any of them have been particularly enjoyable, or particularly good. I did hear the Cowboy Bebop was decent, but like I said, I
Hmm.
haven't seen it, so I don't know for sure. But out of what I've seen, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think any of them, at least not out of the ones that I can remember seeing. Maybe some that I saw years ago, I just completely forgot about. But yeah.
I remember they had Ghost in the Shell, but that was like
Oh
Scarlett
right,
Johansson.
yes, yes. I thought that was okay actually. I know that got a lot of flack for
It was,
some
yeah.
reasons, but
We know the reasons. We
yeah,
just,
that got some flack. But I actually thought, film wise,
hmm.
I thought that was pretty decent. They did their own thing while still referencing the original. So yeah, that's probably the best one. I think that's probably the best one. But yeah.
Yeah, I never actually watched that, so I probably I think I just decided not to. But
I mean, it's a decent film. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people didn't like the casting choice, but
hmm.
yeah, it's a decent film. Like I feel like just the action, story, all that sort of stuff. They did pretty well. And there's one character played by Takeshi Kitano,
Hmm.
who's a real famous Japanese comedian. Actually, he does a lot of drama
Hmm.
movies, but he's actually a comedian. And he's in it as this guy who only ever speaks Japanese, even though he can clearly understand English and different
Yeah.
things. But it's a cool character. He's a cool character, and I think the way they portray him in the movie, he comes off as a real cool guy. So yeah, they done some cool things in that movie. I think they done some cool things in that movie. But definitely, I mean, the casting choice, I would say that didn't bother me so much personally. But I would say there
We
is some.
understood why they did it. They just wanted to get their money back for.
Yeah, I mean, there's,
They needed a
she's a
name.
big name and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And I think, in fairness, the actual character is not technically Japanese because it's a robot and that whole thing. So that I think on a
Yeah.
technicality, you could kind of bend it a little bit there. But yeah, there is something that happens in that film which I won't spoil, but it's definitely a little bit questionable considering the casting
Oh.
choice. Um,
Oh.
but yeah, I won't spoil it for you just in case you do watch it.
Okay, gotta watch Akira and and Ghost in the Shell. I'm making a list.
Akira definitely. Ghost in the Shell is pretty good, but yeah, Akira's a must. I'll say it's a must.
Okay, I'll send you my review later.
Oh, please do. Please do. Yeah, I think then that might be a good place to start wrapping up. Or is there anything else that you'd like to mention or talk about today, Hinachum?
Oh, huh. I guess we didn't go over the question of like like gaming and stuff. Like, I want to know what your favorite video game is.
Oh, okay. Well, my favorite video game would have to be The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. And you might have noticed I answered that very quickly because I have thought about this many, many times. And every time I play a great game, I question as to, is this my new favorite game or is it still Zelda? And it's still Zelda. It's still The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, released way back in like 97, something like that.
No, yes.
98,
So,
late 90s.
what was it, Nintendo 64, I think?
Yeah, and it was the very first Zelda game that I ever played, so I didn't know much about the Zelda series. I actually thought it was like a full-on, side-scrolling action game for some reason. That's what I thought it was. And especially the advert for it at the time kind of made it look more like a non-stop action game. And by the way, that advert back in the day was so sexist, but this is late 90s, so
well, yeah,
it was different times. But yeah, I'd never played a Zelda game before that, and I went and spent £50 on that game to buy it brand new. And I remember starting the game. I can remember thinking right away, like, what is this? Like, this is what? You just wake up as a little kid and you're just wandering around this hat. It's like, what? I thought this was, you know what I mean? I had no clue what was going on.
This stupid Navi that talks
right, you know what I mean? And his little finger, hey, listen. Like, what is this, right? I was thinking, man, I just spent £50 on. But of course, I did spend £50 on it, and back then, you couldn't take games back.
Can't
to the
give
shop
up on
then.
games.
So
no.
It's like you just got it now. It's like you just got to play it. It's not like I had the money to go buy another game, right? So it's just this is it. So I'm playing this game, and you're talking to these characters and learning more about the world, and just the way the story kind of unveils as you go along, and you have these sort of side quests and stuff like that. And I believe it's the first game like that I played as well. Not just the first Zelda game, but the first game, that has this kind of open world questing sort of thing going on. And so as the story kind of unveiled, and you go along and you learn more about the world and the history and the characters and this, that, and everything else. And I was like, wow. I was just so into it. And by the time I got to the end and, the final boss, what I thought was the final boss, Ganondorf, and then you beat him, and then you're making your way out the castle, dodging all these like fires, it's crumbling down and everything else. And it's just this epic thing as you try to get out the castle. You get out the castle, and you find out that wasn't the final boss, and he transforms into Ganon, and you got this ring of fire around you, and Zelda's like trying to help you out by throwing you stuff, and you're trying to fight, and the music played. It was just so epic, and I would say it was the first. Ooh, what just happened? Are you still there? Hello? Hello? Okay. Technical difficulties. Oof. Hello? Okay. Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some technical problems, but I think hopefully we'll be back soon. Your mic's off, Hina, if you could hear me. Hello? Okay, there we go. We're back.
Sorry,
We're back.
that was my side. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. Let me ooh, that's not what I want to do. Ooh. Oosh. All right. Oh, so I'm just trying to figure out something real quick. But we are. Oh, there we go. We got the thing back.
All right. Sorry. Again, I apologize. That's probably my side.
No, that's fine. I'm just
I've
I need to
I've
mm,
have a whole
oh,
story about bad internet.
there we go.
At one point I had animals biting my internet wires.
Oh, it's a whole thing then.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, it cut you off
It cut,
on
yeah.
your
I was like,
amazing
man, what's going on?
explanation of
What's going on?
Zelda.
But yeah, and I was just saying that we get to that final battle, and the fire around you and the music played. It was so epic,
Yeah.
and for me, it was like the first time that I can remember where I played the game and didn't just beat the game, but got to the end of it and really felt like that was an achievement. You know what I mean? Like that was
Yeah.
something. When you get to the end of the game and just feel like, wow, that was like, because I've played good games before that, and I've beaten some games
Mhm.
before that, but that was the first time where I got to the end of the game and just felt like that was something. That was just such an
That's
epic
the best
journey.
experience when you
So
play a
yeah,
game and you just feel like everything's changed or you've never expected going into a game and you love it so much. That's the
yeah,
best
it
feeling.
was it was it was
I
awesome.
that game specifically, I had that game and I played it and I got stuck after I think it was the volcano. I remember it was like the roly boulder things area. It was right after we snuck into the castle to look for Zelda, I guess, in like these hedges.
Okay, yeah.
Um it was right after that, the next destination. I couldn't get through there, so I quit. I was a kid. I was like 10. I was
Well,
like, this game sucks.
well, if you ever get the time, because it's quite a long game, and to be fair, it's an old
Mhm.
game by now, so I'm not sure how well it holds up these days with graphics and controls and whatever else.
No, I
But
feel like Zelda games in general just I think they hold their value like just well because their stories are just so incredible and the journey to get to there. I think for me, old school games just have a different feel to them.
hmm, oh, for
Like their
sure. I mean,
stories are just so like intense and it's whenever I play like older games, I'm like, wow, these are like hidden gems.
yeah, I mean, it was. I feel a lot of it's just there was just a massively different attitude to gaming back then, and
Hmm.
especially for companies like Nintendo, where they had this whole thing about the Nintendo Seal of Approval, which back
Oh
then
yeah.
used to mean something. Like that used to mean something. You said Nintendo Seal of Approval. It don't really mean much these days. Um, but yeah, it was like people would companies would put a lot of time and effort and energy into games because most, or I don't know about most, but certainly a lot of people, you couldn't just buy, 10, 15 games in a row, play one of them and never play
No,
the others and just keep them in your Steam
they're
library. And,
expensive.
you couldn't really do that. It was like you bought a game, that was your game. And if you had a bad experience with it, you're probably not going to buy too many others, right? So you
Yeah.
really had to nail it.
You had to finish it, especially like if your parents were buying you the game, you had to beat it.
Mm. Yeah, could it be like, oh, mom, I want another game? And it's like, well, you even finished this one yet? It's like, yeah,
Exactly. We
couldn't do
just
that.
bought you a game. Why didn't you finish it? I'm like, it's so hard.
Yeah. But I would say though, the N64. In fact, it just so happens I'm wearing my Nintendo T-shirt. So how fitting
Yes,
is
I've
that?
been eyeing it. I'm like, I should buy one.
But yeah, the N64, I would say, definitely has a lot of my favorite games of all time on that were on that console.
For
So yeah,
sure, for sure. They
you
had
know,
amazing games. They had Pokemon Stadium was amazing. They had the first Super Smash Bros, which is legendary. Perfect Dark. I think they have Mortal. No, they don't think they had Mortal
there was a
Kombat. They
Mortal
had Mortal
Kombat. Yeah,
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat 4 was on that. Um, and
Uh,
that's the one where Quan Chi would rip your leg off and beat you with it as his finisher.
oh yes.
That was so
Oh my god.
awesome.
I had that Mortal Kombat for the SNES. It was, but I always got scared. I keep forgetting his name, but the dude with the multiple arms,
Oh,
whenever that
Goro.
dude came up, I was scared, and I was a kid, so it's like playing Mortal Kombat when you're a kid, and then seeing this
Hmm.
big, guy with large arms, like 5 6
Yeah.
arms.
You like grab you two arms and beat you with the other two, and
I know. And then my brother would, because we would play. I mean, who else do you play video games with but your siblings? But
right.
he would always use. I forgot was it Liu Kang when he uses the fireball
Yeah,
from his
effectively can
knees.
when he
He's like,
like has
I
like
forgot what
one
was.
leg up and throws it out. Like
Yes,
yeah, Liu
yes,
Kang.
yes. They always kept on using that move, and I'm like, and I kept on using like Sonya because I was a kid and I was a girl and I
Sonya
wanted to be a
Blade.
girl.
You know what though? Mortal Kombat back in like if it was Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat when that released in the arcade, like
Oh
I'd
yeah,
play that, but I'd play a Scorpion, and I
oh
knew
yeah,
something
yeah.
like two moves, like how to do the spear and then the
Uh huh.
uppercut, and that was
Uh
literally all
huh.
I do. Like I'll spear the person, drag him in, get over here, and then down punch for the uppercut, and that is such a basic combination. But I tell you that got through a lot of people.
Yeah,
You
because
know, I mean,
you just spam it and people will get annoyed with you.
like,
And
I mean,
you'll
if you're playing
win.
somebody who knows how to play the game, of course, that they can still beat you. But if you're playing
Yeah.
against like just regular amateurs, the amount of people I got past, just like be playing against other friends or whatever, they
Hmm.
who aren't that
Hmm.
good at the game. You play against somebody who knows what they're doing, and no, it's not gonna last. But you play against other people who just a bit crap at the game. Yeah, that
Yeah, yeah.
spear, get over here, uppercut, mate. I beat so many people just doing that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Scorpion or wow, I'm like totally blanking on the names, but the freezing. Oh my
Oh,
god,
Sub-Zero.
why? Yeah, Sub-Zero. Oh my god, he would freeze people. Oh my god, those games were so much fun. I
Mm,
love fighting. Like fighting games were just so like iconic when you were a kid. I don't play as many like one-on-one fighting games. The only thing I play now is like probably Smash Bros. But um yeah, that was such a big thing when I was a child, and we would always go finish him.
yeah. Used to bunk off school to go play Street Fighter at the
Yeah.
local arcades. Not that I'd recommend anybody go bunking off school, by the way, but yeah, I remember doing that, like going to the arcades playing Street Fighter. Street Fighter was pretty much
Uh-huh.
my main game way back then. You
Oh
know,
my god, did you have that little arcade connection? Well, if you had it on console, you could get those arcade type of like Joy-Con type of
I
button mashing things.
did at one time, but I never really got good with it. Like it just
Hmm.
I think I had like a cheap one to be honest with you, but I did mostly play with a pad. Like when it came, so when had it on the N60, sorry, the Super NES, yeah, it was all pad, and then I
Yes.
think, I think it was the PlayStation. I got when I had Street Fighter on PlayStation, I ended up getting an arcade stick at one time, and I tried it out for a little while, but I just couldn't really
Just
play,
didn't
so
work
went
out.
back to the pad. So yeah,
Yeah,
went
you
back to the
you
pad.
definitely need to know, like, especially if you're buying that type of things, like knowing all the combinations and like
Mm,
all the moves.
yeah.
But playing in arcades is just like it's so fun.
Mm. No, for sure, man. It was I mean, those things, especially back then, they would just suck money out your pocket. Like they were designed
Hmm.
to just
All my
drain you
quarters
of your
gone.
money, you know. And the way they were like, you put your money in, you play like the first maybe game or two, the first round or two, or first say maybe match or two, and
Mhm.
it will let you win, right, to make you think that you're good at the game, or let you win.
Oh
But then
yeah,
you get to that second or third match, and it's like over. And because like you kind of
yeah.
thinking, oh, I got this far. No, I was so close. You put more money in this thing, and yeah, they knew what they were doing. They
Yes.
knew
Oh
what they were
my,
doing.
all the time. That game, Pac-Man, all the games, all of them
Mm,
took my money.
they were just yeah. But we used to have there was a place like from my school. We called it the precincts, and where there was like an arcade spot there, and it was just the
Hmm.
dingiest place. Like you go in there, and it looked like it looks dingy. Like it literally, the moment you go in there, it just looked dingy.
They
Um,
must have had the best games then.
oh yeah, for sure. They had I mean, they had Mortal Kombat. I can't remember what else they had, but they had Mortal Kombat. Had loads of arcades. I think they had like a pool table as well and some other things like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, we used to go there pretty much every day after school. Be like, yeah, we going precinct. Yeah, we going precinct. That's what we call it, going precinct. Um, but yeah, we're just going to this place and either playing a game or you're watching somebody play a game like the original Twitch, by the way. The original Twitch. You turn up at the arcade and you watch other people play. But that's what we'll do. And that was like pretty much every day after school, going up preset, yeah, and playing the arcades or watching and just hanging out there in this dingy. In fact, I don't know if you ever see Stranger Things, like the episode, I think it was in season 2, where they were at the arcades. It was kind of like a
Hmm.
place
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
we do. Yeah,
but
yeah.
less lights. Less
Oh.
lights. Imagine that, but with less lights. That's what it
Oh
was.
no. That is like sketch.
Yeah.
I
So what's
yeah,
what?
the only arcades I know, like I've been to some art barcades before, but like I haven't been to an arcade in such a long time.
Yeah, I'm not sure they still. I mean, I don't see many actual arcade spots anymore. Like, I know there's places that have arcade machines, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess there's not. I'm not. There's one place in London that I think like Namco something or other on the Embankment, and
Oh.
that's it's run by Namco, so they have a lot of their games there.
Oh
But
yeah, for
the
sure.
old school like arcade spot, like I don't know if they. I'm sure there must be one or two somewhere, right? But yeah, they just don't
You probably have
seem
to look
as
into
common
it. It'll
as
be
they used to
another
be.
dingy location. So wait, the one that you used to go to, is it not there anymore?
Oh yeah, that closed down many
Ah,
years ago.
on
I don't
oh,
know
sad
when, but
times.
yeah, it's gone there. And there was another place near our school, it was a chip shop, but they had an arcade machine in there. We used to go there and just play on the arcades. Nobody bought the chips there. And
Oh.
true story. Like the guy who ran the chip shop, he hated the fact that people would be in the shop but not buying the chips and just playing the arcade machine. And he would like threaten to call the school and all that sort of stuff. He
What?
hated it. And so
But
he
you're paying
decided,
for the machines.
right. And here's the thing, yeah. He got rid of the arcade machine. No lie. Within about a month, that shop closed down.
Oh.
Nobody
Ah,
bought his chips.
no. What was it
Nobody
really that
bought his
bad?
chips. Nobody bought his food. It was literally there for the arcades. And when he got rid of that, we stopped going.
But was the food actually bad, or you just want to spend your money on the arcade?
I mean, I heard it was bad. I don't remember actually. No, maybe I did have the chips there once. I can't remember, but I think I maybe had those chips once.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember there was definitely a rumor going around about like birds were flying to a shop and just like poop all over the fryers and
Ew.
stuff. So
Ew.
I don't know if that's
Getting a
true
little
or
extra
not, but that was
flavor
a
with
rumor
those
going
chips,
around.
huh?
But yeah.
God.
So what's your favorite game of all time then? As we just discussed in length about Zelda.
So I am a huge RPG nerd, JRPG nerd. So I
Okay, yeah.
love them. I love me those Final Fantasies and all those
Mm,
like story games. But my favorite all time, you said Namco, but owned by Bandai Namco, is called Tales of Symphonia, and it was on the
okay, yeah, yeah.
GameCube. And it honestly just blew my mind. It because I'm for me, I like games that have an ending, because then I know I can spend a specific amount of time playing it and then just go on to something else. Kind of
Mm,
like anime. It's like, oh, you could just watch one season and you're out. But it was, for me, Tales of Symphonia just focused on a like lot of um I don't know how to say it. It touched on a lot of issues that even happen in the real world, and it
okay.
they do it in such a way that you're so invested in the story and the characters, and they build each character's story so nicely that when you get to the ending, it's just, you just felt like you experienced something amazing. And for me, it was like one of my first, I guess, first like story games that I ever played, that it just had such a big impact on me. I mean, they say like, oh, your first games are always your favorite, but it like for this one specifically, I go to any game in the future and I go back to thinking about that game, and I play that game like probably 15 times now. It was just that good. The story was that good. It still holds to this day. And even though the animation of the video game is probably not the best now, but
Well, I mean,
it had an iconic effect on me. And the fact that the voice actor for the main lead was the same one as like the Teen Titans Robin dude, it was just like iconic to me.
when did that game come out? I think I remember hearing about it. I know I haven't played it, but I mean, was that like
I think it
2000
was
something?
like,
Or?
yeah, 2001. Let me look. Yeah, 2003. Yeah,
Okay.
2003.
Okay, so it's pretty old school now, though.
Yeah, old
Yeah.
school. But everyone old school, like Chrono Trigger was like mind blowing.
Mm. But yeah, that is incredible when a piece of art or creative media can really kind of speak to you on such a deep level. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's related to something that's going on in your life or something around you, and you know, like we were saying before about how while we do things, we don't necessarily do it
Mhm.
because of this other thing, but it's just a way things can just like reach you and speak to you on such a level. And you know, the idea of it, I guess, yeah, you're saying before the first is often your favorite because it's your first, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's not always just that. I think sometimes it's just certain things about it that even if another product, another game, or another whatever did something
Mhm.
similar, it's just something about the way it was done that really kind of got you at that right time. You
Yeah,
know
exactly.
that you can't
You
plan
can't
to
replicate that
mimic.
moment, like
Yeah.
for sure. It's like that when you connect to a game that much, you're like, because it was just when because I was young, so I was very impressionable. Like I saw my brother playing it, and I was like, I want to play that game. And sometimes he would, and what's so amazing about like Tales series games specifically is that they are multiplayer, so you could have 4 people in a team and playing like a JRPG, which was like something that was not possible um to me, that I was like, oh, what, a JRPG can have multiple people. But my brother would just allow me to like have the second controller and play with him. And then, yeah, I never actually like finished the game with him. He would kind of just let me play like 1 or 2 battles with him. But um, when I actually got to sit down and play the game myself, it was just I like it was it was just wow.
Mm. Yeah, tells us Symphonia. Man, I think I remember. Well, I remember hearing about it. Um, I don't know why I wouldn't have picked it up though, because I guess it would have been at the time I was playing maybe a few more RPGs and that sort of thing. But I'm gonna have to
Were
look it
you
up
did
though.
you play RPGs?
A few. I mean, I guess I was never big into RPGs,
Yeah.
but yeah, I definitely played a few. I played a few. I played. You mentioned Final Fantasy. I played Final Fantasy
Mhm.
10,
Oh, that was a good one.
which I really liked.
Yeah.
I'll say that is my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Um, I know a lot of people say 7, but I'm going with 10. I guess similar to how I felt with Zelda. Like by the time I got to the end of it, it just kind of felt like the culmination of something epic.
Yeah, for
And
sure. 10 was amazing.
mm,
The journey of like the main character, Titus, whatever you want to say, like he
yeah,
grew so much. It was a great game for
yeah.
sure.
And for myself, was like I remember playing it for a little while, and I got to this bit where I got stuck, and I ended up putting it down and not coming back to it for the longest time. And eventually, I was like,
Oh
okay, let me
yeah,
give this another go. And this is like maybe nearly a year later, actually, that I picked it
I
back up
get that.
again. And then at this point, I kind of forgot a few things, so I had to kind of relearn some stuff as well. But yeah, I remember like continuing from there, getting to the finally getting to the end of the game, and then and that ending though, oof, mm,
Man. Oh
yeah,
yeah, that ending. Oh, yeah, it definitely hit my heart
yeah,
too. I was like, this is how you're ending it? What?
that fade,
The
but yeah,
Yuna.
man.
Oh my god, I was like, it was definitely legend. I love how you said like you came back to it a year later, because especially like same here when there are like bosses that are so difficult, and you're like, you feel like you just can't beat it, you just toss it off. You're like, no,
Right.
I'm not playing this no more. I had a game where like I I don't I think it was Shadow Hearts. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I got through a point, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna come back to this another time. And then I kind of left it for like a couple of years, and like my game saved deleted and everything. So I don't know what happened. But then I decided, you know what, I'll just play again and see what happened. See what happens at the end and stuff. And then I figured out that the point I stopped at was like one dungeon before the final. And
Oh.
I was like, what? And
Oh.
I was like, I thought I had so much more to do.
Ooh. It's like
I was like,
if
if
only you
I
had
just
that
stuck
one
with
more
it.
go.
I know. I was like, if I just stuck with it just a little longer, I would have been in the game. And then it was I was so angry. I was like,
Ah.
I have like so many sad memories with gaming. Like, there's this one time. Have you ever had the Xbox 360?
Yes.
Did you have the one where you could just lightly like put your finger on the like on and off button and it would turn on and off? Like, you didn't have to press an actual button. It was just kind of like
I
motion sensor kind of in a
think
way.
so. Yeah, yeah. I think because the butt was quite had like a slight indent, but yeah, you didn't push it. Push it. You
You
just kind of
didn't push it. You just
yeah,
lightly
just kind
like
of touched it
tapped
a little
it.
bit. Yeah.
Oh my god. So imagine playing RPGs while playing on that type of Xbox. I played this RPG and I couldn't find a save point for the life of me. And I was like 2-3 hours in, and my mom decided to clean the TV stand at that moment.
Uh
And
oh.
she turned off the system and I just started crying. I was like, no.
Uh oh. Oh.
I have
Ooh.
so many gaming fails.
Oh. You know what? I think I think yeah, that's probably a more common gaming story that you know where you're playing and somebody pulls a plug somewhere or you
Oh
accidentally
yeah.
push something and you turn off the machine without realizing. You know what I mean? Like
Oh.
oh yeah, I feel that pain. I feel that pain. Oh, especially
It
like you
was
say, like
tragic, and then I
there's
had to
so long
get
between
back there
saves.
again. Yeah, because you're defeating all these strong bosses, and you're like, oh, I feel so good, and then you're like, oh, I have to beat them again. No.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's
So
one of the
yeah.
reasons why it took me so long to get back to Final Fantasy X actually, because like there are areas where you go through a boss and then the next save point would be like an hour's worth of gameplay or something like that away,
Exactly.
and then you have to maybe beat a whole bunch of enemies and then maybe another boss, and then it's like you get to that bit, you die, and then it's like, oh, man, I gotta.
That's what I hate the
Ugh.
most. They give you a really tough boss, and then they're like, "Oh, right before another save point, there's another really hard boss you have to beat. So you have to beat
Yeah,
both bosses to get to the save point." And you're like, "I
right,
don't have enough items for this. I don't have Phoenix Downs over here."
right. Do you know what I mean? You just gotta going back and thinking, okay, well, I can't use this many on this boss because I'm gonna save it for this guy, and you know.
Exactly. And you're like, you barely survived the first one.
Just getting there, and it's like all your health is like minuscule. Yeah,
Exactly. And you
you're
can't
trying to,
even go back because it's like, oh, it's a one time. You have to travel to an island to defeat these things,
right,
so you can't go back.
just using all the potions, and it's like, mate, I'm
Oh, the
spent, man. I've got
struggles.
like two
I mean,
bottles left.
that's what I enjoy about, like, you know what? Like, I kind of know the formula of JRPGs, but I just love them so much. I don't care. I love stories.
You know, speaking of favorites, actually, I guess this is kind of fits into what we're talking about now. So, you're into Disney in a big way, it seems, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love Disney for sure.
Okay, so what's your favorite Disney prince, or who rather is your favorite Disney princess or favorite Disney character?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Prince. I'm like, well,
Or prince, you know,
um,
prince, princess.
um, yeah, it could
I
any
guess I'm being a bit
character.
sexist by saying princess, to be honest with you.
Well,
So yeah,
no, not at all. I was just
okay,
joking. Because
favorite
you
Disney
ended in
character.
Prince,
Let
and
me
I'm
say
like,
that.
I've never thought of this. Who's my favorite Disney prince? Um, Princess. It's ooh. There's so many good ones. Like, I was so into, like, as a kid, and even now I was so into like Mulan and a Jasmine, and like, yeah, I think those, especially old school Disney, was just like knew what they were doing. Um, I probably had to say Mulan. I loved her story and her journey, and it was just such a fun movie because they had Mushu and everything. It was just so enjoyable. But
Okay,
but I gotta say, favorite sidekick is definitely
okay.
the magic carpet.
Magic
I
carpet.
love
Oh, is
that
that
magic.
Aladdin?
Yes, Aladdin.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, yeah, I haven't seen those ones. Cool. Um, yeah, I think one of the things that Disney has done really well over the years is, they make movies primarily for, younger audiences, right? Um, like, the Mulans, and so they're
Hmm.
primarily made for with young audiences in mind. But I think
Hmm.
they've somewhere realized that, parents take their kids to the cinemas to go see them. And so they often have like maybe say a subplot or something that's not quite the main story in there that adults might pick up on, you know. And I feel that's done really well, just because like if you're watching a movie and with your kids or whatever, there's something there for you to keep you entertained a
Yeah.
little bit as well, and not just bored out your mind watching some kiddie
Yeah,
movie,
for sure.
you know.
I definitely do believe that Disney does a very good job of ingraining, like integrating a whole audience to be able to watch it. But what I really appreciated, especially with the new Disney movie like Encanto, right? I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if you
yeah,
ever
yeah.
got the chance to watch it,
I've
but
seen Encanto. It is
it was
amazing.
it was such an amazing movie that really allowed anyone to watch. It,
Mm,
like, it didn't matter if you were a guy, girl, a parent, child. It could siblings could relate to it. They just had something for everyone. And like when every time I watch that movie, I just start bawling because it was like you could relate to it so much. And
yeah,
it's kind of like she wasn't a Disney princess. She was technically a regular girl, which a lot of
yeah,
us are, or a lot of just a regular kid. Like sometimes we feel like we're not special, and it's like dealing with that.
yeah. I mean, that
So it was,
film for me, I'd say is about as close to perfect as you can
yeah.
realistically get with a movie, from its story to its acting, songs, and I just feel they did. It was such an amazing thing they did, where they tell
Hmm.
this story that, although it's set, in Colombia, it's a story that so many people can relate to. Being
Yes.
a child and feeling like the grown-ups around you aren't paying attention, or maybe treating you
Hmm.
a little bit lesser, or don't give you, what I mean, that sort of thing. And there's so many kind of sort of family taboos in there about, you don't question your parents, you don't question that sort of thing that a lot of
Yeah.
cultures have
Hmm.
some version of, that it tackles in this movie. And so you have this girl who, by the way, I've got to say, I do believe did get a gift. I just don't believe her gift was as obvious as everybody else's.
Yeah.
But as far as the story goes, he didn't get a gift, and it's kind of made to feel, like the the outsider to some degree, and a lot of that coming from her grandmother, who's perhaps doing it not necessarily deliberately, but is still doing it. And
Yes.
you see how it makes her feel, and how she's trying to and that scene where she kind of um confronts her grandmother and just like lets it all out. And
Hmm.
that moment where it's literally just all coming out, and it just feels so uncoordinated, it's just coming out. And I was like, wow, because that's kind of how these things tend to go when things kind of build up inside you, and it just takes that kind
Yes.
of overpowering that you need to just get it all out. And you just, yeah. So yeah, I feel like, whoever wrote that, whoever directed it, whoever, just everything about that movie was just it. Yeah, it was a fantastic film. And apparently, this is what somebody told me, but apparently it's very culturally accurate to Colombian culture as well, even down to a lot of
Ah.
details. So cool trivia also.
No,
But
that's amazing. I like they I I think they do very well with like culturally um like being accurate with, I think, most movies. I think, well, I can't really say. But
I mean,
like
Disney have a history, but
yeah, they have
yeah.
history, but like okay, never mind. Forget I say anything. um
No, so,
but I
but
was
yeah, I
gonna
think
say, like,
certainly
that
last
scene
movie was
what you
good.
talked about with like her arguing with the abuela, as like I'm the youngest in my family, and I like in that scene I'm just like I related to her across the whole movie because I'm like, I understand when you're like when you're the baby of the family, sometimes you feel like you don't have a voice or you don't have um like you sometimes your voice, yeah, I already said that. It's like your voice isn't heard enough, or um you, you feel like the adults, you're not part of the adults even though you're like
Mm,
probably as grown up and everything. So it's interesting, like they even kind of reflect on like all, sorry for my thing is on, but all like aspects of like being an adult, being the like eldest sibling. They had the song about being the eldest. And when I talked about how was it, the surface pressure, that song,
yeah,
when I
that's my
talked to
favorite
my
one.
sister about it, or when I talked to my, yeah, I talked to my older sister about it, and she was like, yeah, I relate to this song. Like you, when, or it was like when you're the older one, you feel like you have all this responsibility on you because you're the older one. And
Mm,
it's like, wow, when you hear the song from that perspective, it's you kind of don't realize because you're not in that spot. And
mm.
it's so interesting.
Yeah, no, that song, I think for me, yeah, I felt like I could relate to that to as well, to some degree at least. And I think a lot of times people, um we I mean, I guess a lot of it sometimes, to be fair, is maybe self-imposed, that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, right? But then some
Hmm.
of it is just from, whether it's family, whether it's from people around you, work, things like that. But yeah, you can start to feel like if you don't do this thing, everything else falls apart. And so you have to
Yes.
keep doing this thing, even at times when you really don't want to do that thing,
Uh-huh.
and but you just keep going, and you don't always feel appreciated. You don't always feel like anybody's even noticing or anybody even cares.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, you kind of feel sometimes like everybody's just kind of taking you for granted, but you got to keep doing this thing. You got to keep doing this thing. And yeah, I feel like that song
Because
really
it's
kind of,
expected.
right, if it's not done, you know,
Yeah.
if it's not done, then it's going to be a problem. And so, yeah, I think that song really encapsulates that feeling for a lot of people of, on the surface, yeah, yeah, there's not a problem. Everything's great. I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
fine. It's all good. But beneath the surface, you just feel like you're breaking, falling apart, and you don't
Hmm.
always have people you can turn to or talk to about it. And yeah, oof, yeah.
And a lot of families, it's
Mm,
very common in a lot of families to bottle up your emotions.
mm,
It's like sometimes if you don't grow up in a household where talking about your feelings is uh, with each other is very common, you kind of just like I have to hide it. I have to show like the best. People are always watching. I have to show my best face, and
mm,
you shouldn't have any issues. Or sometimes I've seen where even adults are like, hey, what you have an issue at school? That's the least of your worries. It's
yeah.
like, it's like, oh, school art. You don't know what real issues are. And it's like
Mm,
when you're a kid, that is everything. Like, of course you don't have those experiences yet, but you shouldn't negate the experiences that they're having now.
no, for sure. I feel like that's one of the things with our society where we sometimes, well, not even sometimes, but a lot of time, diminish other people's problems and experiences because they're not the
Yes.
same as ours. And
Yes.
you kind of look at things like, oh, that's nothing, that's not a real problem. And maybe in the grand scheme of things, sure, but like you said, when you're a kid, or when that's because ultimately everything's relative, right? Everything's
Yes.
relative to you in that situation. So you don't know as a kid or what having to deal with taxes and this your
Mm-hmm.
house getting repossessed. You don't know about that. All you know is that you're in school and this is what you got to deal with, and that could feel like the whole world, you know. And just as an adult, maybe having to deal with trying to find money for the rent, that's their problem, and it's all kind of relative to where you are.
Yeah.
So like, although it's not the same problem, and maybe as a grown-up you could handle that problem easy enough, but I think we need to remember that they're not an adult, or they're not in your position, or they're not having
Hmm.
your experiences, or they're not whatever it may be. I think we sometimes diminish that because we see other people's problems as lesser than our own, but forget that everybody's problem is relative to who they are in that moment in time. So that's maybe a small thing to you is that's a whole world to them, and they still got to deal with that, So yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better than myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen way too much of that, and unfortunately.
Yeah, indeed. I think I think I've seen a little bit of that myself, and can't lie. I know I've been that guy who's diminished other people's problems as well over at times, and kind of have to look back and think, what, that was not the way to handle a situation, and try to learn from it, and that sort of thing.
I mean, yeah, as long as no one's not gonna expect you to know everything from the get go. Is definitely learning and growing from it.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hina.
We left on a serious note.
Yeah, we covered quite a lot today, though. I think
we did. I'm sorry. I feel like I took so much of your time.
No apologies needed. I appreciate you coming through and chatting with me about all kinds of stuff. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, is to have conversations with people, and not just about the games and that's all great, but also the people behind that, and how you feel about things. And because I think who you are and what your life experiences and everything that happened in your life up till this point when you go out into the stream, whether directly or indirectly, is coming through in some way. So talking to the well, I guess the avatar really in your case, but even still talking to you about a little bit about your life and the things that you do, and that sort of stuff, and how you feel about things. That I appreciate you coming through and chatting with me about this. So thank you for doing this, Hinachum.
Thank you again for reaching out. I was so surprised. I disclaimer: this is like my first ever podcast, so
well, hopefully not the last.
well, if you ever want to invite me again, I'm sure we could talk for another 2 hours.
Indeed.
I had honestly had the best time talking to you. For me, I think it's talking to new people with different experiences, because even though you definitely probably have like experiences, it's like you learn something new from different people. I think that's why I love so much about streaming, is you're talking to someone who's across the world.
Yeah.
And you're learning about their culture, their experiences, and their streaming experiences, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah. It's I mean, yeah, as I was saying the other day, like, just opposite sides of the world connected through this technology, and we're talking in real time. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, pretty awesome. And I think what you do is pretty awesome as well. So yeah.
All right. Again, thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Is there any last words you'd like to say though before we end?
What should I say? You should subscribe to uncivilisedArt. You can find him on YouTube and Twitch.
Well, thank you. Yes, please subscribe. Please follow the Twitters and stuff, and the same for Hinachum as well. Make sure you follow her on Twitch and Twitter and all the. It's Hinachum on all the platforms, right? Is it Twitter and
yes, all the platforms. Well? Yeah, Twitter is real Hinachum, but other than that, everything is Hinachum. So thankfully, no one has stolen anything.
The real Hinachum, not the fake Hinachum.
No, there's so many fakes out there.
Yeah, no fakes. Get the real Hinachum. Cool. I'll drop some links and stuff in the description. But yeah, no, thank you for doing this.
I did want to say one thing. It's like if sorry. No. I guess whoever is like, I talked about like, taking the jump to start streaming, but like if anyone ever wants to start streaming, I do, please, like, try it. Like if you want, if it's something you've always wanted to do, because it's never too late.
Mm,
And honestly, sometimes you'll just start enjoying it, even if you're not only getting like 1 or 2 viewers. It's something that it's like you're playing. For me, it was like I'm playing video games anyway, if I stream it or don't. So I say take the chance. Sometimes you'll find yourself meeting new people and finding new friends, and I think that's some of the best parts of being a streamer. So if you want to do it, go for it.
indeed, go for it. Yeah, if you're waiting for any kind of permission, there you go for it. But you don't need permission. You just need to go for it. You know, you only well, how's it go? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah, that quote. I do. I love
Yeah.
that quote.
So yeah, go for it, and hopefully it works out. But if it doesn't, at least you tried, and you can say that you've done
Mhm.
something. You know, so definitely go for it. All right, so Hinachum, thank you for coming. Thank you for chatting with me from all the way in the Americas to all the way in the Englands. Um, but yeah, I'll put this out and let you know when it's all ready and stuff. And to anybody watching and or listening, like, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. But for now, yeah, until whenever, if ever, peace.